Hello and welcome to Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. On today's show, we'll hear from Sara Peña, Director of External Affairs at PSEG and founder of the Boys to Leaders Foundation, who's helping guide the next generation of leaders in the Garden State. But first, HABcore is giving hope to those who need it most along the Jersey Shore. The nonprofit, led by President and CEO Steve Heisman, provides permanent housing and support to veterans, families, and individuals in crisis. Steve joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, thank you for all you're doing. You're doing a lot, and there's a lot of people in need right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. HABcore has grown so much over the past few years that we're not just a supportive housing agency any longer. We're an agency that empowers people who are struggling to improve their lives and become a member of their community. This could be a veteran living in the woods, it could be a family struggling to make ends meet, or someone with a disabling condition who can't live in their home any longer. We give people a home, we give people support, and we give them the opportunity to take control of their lives and become independent. And we do this now in so many different ways. We're helping over 1,000 people a year.
How do you help them? What are some of those specifics?
So we have many different programs. We have our housing programs. We provide permanent housing in many different ways. There's congregate living for people with special needs, Independence Pathways program, which provides supportive services and a subsidy to families and individuals with special needs and veterans who just kind of need a helping hand to get back on their feet. They're assigned a supportive housing coordinator to work with them on what it is that they see that they help make their lives better, and to kind of plan for the future. We have emergency shelter programs. We run the shelter for the county. We have a street outreach program where we have people with their boots on the ground going to the woods, going to find people who are living in their cars and just trying to find out what can we do to connect them with housing, remove the barriers, just meet their basic needs by giving them a blanket or a bottle of water.
You gave me such a visual just now when you said you have people going into the woods to find homeless. I mean, that's just so heartbreaking. You're finding a lot of people?
Yes, especially in Ocean County, there is no emergency shelter. And in Monmouth, where we operate the county homeless shelter, the beds are limited as they are just throughout the state. And so people are choosing to find other ways. They've been building these tent communities. A lot of them also don't want to leave their pets. That's one of the missions that we're undertaking, is to provide emergency shelter, which is pet friendly, because people aren't gonna leave their pets. They're a member of their family now.
How long have you been involved?
27 years. Prior to this, I ran a residential program for Catholic Charities for adolescents with substance abuse problems and other behavioral and psychiatric needs. And prior to that, I ran group homes for kids with developmental disabilities.
Wow. What a kind-hearted person you are. I mean, you've spent your whole life and career helping people in need, and now you're doing it in such a bigger way.
I'm never bored. And it's interesting, and it's very fulfilling.
It totally is. In this climate right now, where nonprofit funding is getting slashed and it's just very hard to do what you're doing right now, how do you make it happen?
That is a great question, because we're entering a time where I don't necessarily know what's going to happen. There's a lot of things with government funding, but regardless, I don't think it's going to be a shock to anybody to find out that there's a crisis when it comes to affordable housing. And providing for people who are struggling to make ends meet. And this could be somebody who's homeless, somebody who's struggling with a special need, somebody who ran into a bad break. It could be, just anybody. It could be your cashier at your grocery store, or your favorite server at your favorite restaurant, or your kid's favorite teacher. But affordable housing is something that I think we all need to kind of sit up and take notice of. And whatever number I were to give you now, I'm sure it would pale in comparison to by the time people watch this, but it's just thousands, and it's too many.
It really is. Do you have partnerships with other nonprofits to help offset costs?
Yes. We partner in a number of different ways. I mean, we can't do it alone, and we know that we're more impactful if we work together. So we've got some great new partnerships with other nonprofits that are starting right now. We've got one with 180 Turning Lives Around, where we're going to be providing transitional housing for women who are survivors of domestic violence. We also have started one with Family Promise of the Jersey Shore to provide emergency shelter for families. We partner with municipalities and we help them to provide for their responsibility for affordable housing to their community. And we do this, being a good neighbor, not being a drain. We want to be an asset to the community.
Of course.
We do it with local corporate partners. We have some great local partners, Leonardo Jewelers, T&M Engineering, Small and Lupin, the accounting firm, where they provide us financial support. They provide us with technical support. They provide us with people who want to get involved and help out.
That is amazing. Besides housing, what else does HABcore provide in terms of essentials like food and clothing?
The supportive services range, and basically the family tells us what they need. So if it's financial literacy and budgeting help, then we'll help them with that. If it's connecting them with a local food pantry, making sure that they have what they need to provide healthy meals for their children. There's more intensive services in our Strengthening Families program. We'll teach them communication skills. We'll teach them parenting skills, and so that they can set up systems within the home to enable the kids to do better at school and to improve their behaviors. We have a supportive employment program where we start out with helping them with job acquisition skills, filling out resumes, applications, interview role playing, and then we'll do a career assessment. Do we need to help them with getting schooling or training to where it is that they want to be? But the ultimate goal is connecting them with employment, which is going to increase their income and help them improve their lives to where maybe they don't need the assistance that they're on in the future.
Do you have a success story that stands out among your 2 decades plus tenure here?
We have many. We do have many, and it's really nice to see those tangible impacts that you have. You can spend the day working and going through all this stuff and all the headaches that come along with it, but when you see the smiles on people's faces and know that you are helping people better themselves. I mean, we have a couple of our, they were kids when they entered the program, and now they've graduated high school and they're going on to college, which they would have never been able to do in their previous situation. And they've got dreams. One of them got a full ride to Stockton. One of them's going to medical school. We just met with a family actually who the granddaughter is joining the ROTC. She wants to join the military and learn a profession so that she can now provide for her grandmother who's been providing for her all this time.
So for people watching that are in need, how can they get in touch with you?
I would suggest that they call their county Department of Social Services. For most programs, they need to be funneled through the coordinated entry system of each county. And then when we have an opening, we then call that coordinated entry agency and we'll say, we have this size of a home in this town, who is next on your list that would be appropriate for this. But if it's for the actual just support services, they can go to our website and either fill out an application or just call, to get in touch with us somehow. People can refer, if they've seen somebody who's in need, and they want to let us know, hey, maybe your street outreach team could take a drive by this place because we saw, somebody who's living in their car, we can do that too.
And for others watching that want to volunteer or to donate, are those opportunities available?
Absolutely, absolutely. If they go to our website, they can find a menu of opportunities, whether they want to go and work congregate living homes to put on a bingo party, they love crafts and decorating cupcakes and things like that. It could be stuff where there's skills to help. We've got our crew who goes out and we're rehabilitating a home in Red Bank right now, and we've got a bunch of people, volunteers from the local church. We have programs for kids. They can come do yard work at the homes to get their community service hours in. We have all sorts of opportunities for people to get involved.
Absolutely. That's so beautiful. Steve, thank you so much for coming here today and spreading your good work.
Thanks so much for having me.
At AmeriHealth, we understand what's important to you. It's why we offer some of the lowest cost health plans in New Jersey, with access to one of the state's largest networks of doctors and hospitals. Plus, with free 24/7 virtual care, you can see a doctor anytime and anywhere. And we're committed to giving back to help make a difference in our communities. Learn more at AmeriHealth.com. A health plan for everyone.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
Sara Peña is Director of External Affairs at PSEG and founder of the Boys to Leaders Foundation. Sara grew up in Newark, became the first in her family to attend college, and now mentors young men across New Jersey while leading strategic initiatives at PSEG. Sara, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me, Lisa. I'm excited to be here.
What a resume, and that only scratches the surface with you.
Oh, no. It's all done with, I don't do this work alone. I do this with really great partners, even at PSEG.
Well, let's dive into your story in order.
Okay.
So your upbringing, you grew up in Newark, and it sounds like you made it a big success.
Yeah, so I lived, real life experience of what it was like growing up with limited resources, right? But the one thing we had, however, was community. And our community was so vibrant and rich in culture, but we lacked opportunities. And so what Newark taught me was how to overcome adversity and how to advocate for myself and for others. And I think all of those experiences of growing up with limited resources and having to kind of navigate through the language barriers or some of the barriers that we as Latinos face in the United States, I think it really shaped my perspective on equity and access and understanding that I had to create pathways for others, to access higher ed or things like that. Like that came from where I came from, started with less, but aspire for so much more.
Yeah, so even though you didn't have the means maybe growing up, you just had those dreams,
yes.
Right? Sitting in your room like, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
And help
yes.
others like me.
Yes, and that was really important. My mom and dad, they really instilled that in our family. They said community comes first and you must extend a hand. And, my dad, they were very Catholic and they would say like, God is watching, Yeah. and that's part of what you do here on this earth. You got to give back.
Absolutely.
So.
What section of Newark?
North Ward.
North Ward.
The North Ward.
And where
yes.
did you go to school?
I went to school to Essex County Vocational Technical School right on the North 13th Street off of Bloomfield Avenue. And then I went to Kane University. But my elementary school was right across the street from my house, which is Abington Avenue.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So from college, where did you go?
So college was a long period, and then I ended up in New York City, actually. I ended up managing a doctor's office for young doctors who were starting their practice. And during college, I had worked in hospitality, and one of my managers was married to this doctor. And she saw my skill set and said, listen, I want to recruit you when you graduate from college to come and manage my husband's practice. And I went into the city for about 13 years, yes, to manage a practice from scratch. And they are still there today, very successful.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
Well, you laid the blueprint, that's
yes,
why.
I like to think that.
And then when did you start at PSEG?
So I just started at PSEG about 3 years ago, and it's been a really just wonderful experience because it's a full circle moment for me. And it really comes down to back early in the 80s when this beautiful, shiny, glassy building was being built right by Military Park in Newark. All of us in Newark were excited. This was like, wow, something like this. And we grew up in downtown Newark, taking the light rail, the bus. So that was our world. We were always downtown. And to see this beautiful building go up, and it was PSEG, giving back. Right. And so my mom and I, we would go into the first floor of customer service and sometimes had to ask for help with payment assistance. We didn't have enough money to pay for our bill. And I would have to translate for my mom. And then today to be in the C-suite level, having conversations with the CEOs or senior executive team about creating connections between the company and community is really full circle moment for me. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity that they have given me. And it's really in their name, right? Public service.
It is. And we've had numerous people from PSEG on, and you all have like the same vibe. You're cut from the same cloth. You just really want to help people at the end of the day.
Yeah, and we want to provide an infrastructure that really gives access to safer, cleaner energy in their space. And we want to make sure that our customers are heard. And I think we've really done a really good job with that in the last few years, especially in the last few years since I've been there, where I get to see firsthand, the people that are doing the work behind the scenes. And they are amazing. It's amazing.
Talk about how PSEG goes out into the community and help others.
We really go out there and bridge that gap. And we do that by becoming sponsors to many community events and making sure that we're educating our communities on programs that entail workforce development, that we're providing resources for them for payment plans or assistance with their bills, that we're there at the front lines and really listening to our customers so that we can bring that information back to our office and to those that are the experts in specific areas and get things done and moving for them.
And you're the perfect person for that job. It's a lot of nights for you, right? Because it's a lot of events and it's a lot of networking.
Yes. It can be, a little bit crazy, but it's something that I've been used to. I came, with that in mind. I came from government, working on a statewide level, commuting and also just traveling throughout the state and listening to our residents and to our nonprofit world. So I was already used to that, and it's really been a great experience because I got to meet so many different people. I really enjoy the fact that I'm able to go into different towns in New Jersey, and each one of them has their own character.
Totally.
And has their own story. And I really love that about New Jersey because it makes my job a little easier because I get to hear all the great things and meet really great people. So even though there are many late nights, I get to really interact and get to meet people and hear their stories, and I really love that.
Well, that was a segue into the next part of our interview, your nonprofit. So despite how busy you are, you take the time to have a whole other life outside of the office.
Yes, and I think I have to, like I stressed earlier, it is not something I do by myself, right? I have a great board, amazing leaders that serve on this board and really help me push the mission forward, which is really to empower and motivate our young men in our communities. We know the graduation rates are very low, especially in our urban communities like Newark and Jersey City compared to others throughout the state. And so young men are really suffering in our communities. And so we want to make sure that we are at the front line listening to our young men and providing resources, providing scholarships, and providing mentorship opportunities for them. So it really is a passion that I have coming way back, right? Coming from where I come from, meaning limited resources and not being exposed to leaders that look like me. And so all of that work transpired into the Boys to Leaders. I put all my passion and into that work because I was in a situation where I was faced to be a single mother. Nobody raises their hand and says, I want to be a single mother, right? And I was.
The hardest job, by the way.
Yeah, and I had to kind of see, oh, wait a minute, how do I expose this young man to leaders that look like him? And so this kind of, there's been a lot of things that happen in between there, meaning, his own experiences and he's sharing some things that I was like, well, that doesn't sound right? You should be exposed to something else and this space. And then I said, wait a minute, why don't I be a change maker? Stop talking about it, step up to the plate, Sara. And how do I do that? I looked right into my network, who was around me. Hey, can you help me do this? Can you help me with that? And very limited resources. And I was able to kick off a conference. And it's been about 12 years. We just did our 12th conference. And we're very excited. And this year we did it in Jersey City. So it was just, really, it's been amazing. It's been a great ride. And I'm glad that I'm able to impact the lives of young men in our communities.
I get to know a lot of different nonprofits in the state. And they're all so worthy, right, in their missions. But yours truly is the first one I've heard directed to the men, right?
Yes.
And men, they make the world go around too.
Yes.
So it's important. How old is your son now?
My son is 24 now. But when I started, he was about 12, but it really came down to how do I make things better? How do I make things better in my community, in my neighborhood? I grew up in a great neighborhood that I thought was like, wow, we've got it figured out. And then I said, when I went to college, I said, how do I show others that they can also reach higher education, that they can aspire, that their dreams are not just dreams if we work for it. You know, being at Kean University, I had to learn how to balance finance, personal growth, academics, right, without a roadmap. But the one thing I had was determination. And I think that's true with all who, especially those who are first in their journeys. And I think that's also important, that we need support, but we also have to go out and ask for help and be comfortable doing that.
Absolutely. You must have so many successes. Reflecting back on the 12 years, what comes to mind?
All the challenges.
All the challenges.
All the challenges come to
But
mind.
I'm sure you have a lot of success stories of men that maybe weren't thinking of going to college and now they're CEOs.
And you know, that's the most amazing part. You know, I meet these wonderful young men early in their careers or life, and you know, because I'm very intentional and we have these conferences on a college campus, and our partner for the last 10, 11 years was Rutgers University in Newark. And a young man came later in life and said, because you had the conference on a college campus, I decided to come to this school. It was the only school I knew, because I'd never did open houses or did any of that. And I became part of the honors program. I traveled to Israel. This young man just totally excelled. And those are the stories, right, that are heartwarming and are touching. We have a wonderful youth advisory. Well, now it's called Emerging Leaders Program. We teach our young men, you know, how to tie a tie and give them headshots, like really preparing them, because those are things sometimes that we as parents are running around and may not have time to do, but we want to strengthen, we want to build on what they're learning at home sometimes and just, you know, remind them. And so there's so many different phases to it, but there's another wonderful young man who is now on a great financial career. You know, he's with a great financial firm, and he did an internship and just continued to move up. And so I'm very happy. And our scholarship winners, they come back and give testimonials of how the scholarship helped them. So it's really great. It's really rewarding, and I'm blessed and grateful for the opportunity to serve.
You're just so unbelievable. And beyond all of that, you sit on various boards. Yes. And nonprofits, one that you and I are both affiliated with, Let's Talk Women's Health and Wellness, the great Deb Belfato, who brought us together.
Yes.
And tell us about some of that you have going on.
Well, first of all, Let's Talk is amazing, right? And we know that because it's about talking about women's health and access to health and just educating women, which I think is phenomenal. And that's why I'm a part of that. I really believe in Deb's mission and the work that she's done to this day. But also I advise the Young Women Foundation, which was founded about 2 years ago by 2 Kean alums. So we're really excited. They launched the Young Women Foundation, and they have a conference. They're giving scholarships as well. They partnered with Rutgers in the last 2 years, and now they're moving on to hopefully Kean. But it's been a wonderful experience to be part of that growth. I've seen these 2 young women. I've mentored them, and now they're creating their own nonprofit, which is like amazing. Right? And living with passion and purpose. And that's what it's about. Being part of the Esther Institute for Women, that's founded by Reverend Tiffany Williams Brewer, another great woman in government and as an attorney, very successful attorney, now a Howard University law professor. She's part of that. Her mom and her started that, and it's been an amazing journey to be part of that. And that's a global initiative with women and girls, and we have a great partnership with Uganda, someone over there, and the girls over there. So it's really been rewarding to see all the great things that are coming out of it. So I'm excited.
You could rule the world, Sarah.
That's the goal. No.
Yeah. You could, if anybody could accomplish that, it's you. Where can people find out more first about PSEG and their community initiatives?
Yeah, so you please go on our website at pseg.com. You'll find tons of resources, whether to save energy at home, EE programs for your EV charging, and rebates. I mean, tons of programs, great programs and initiatives, workforce development, clean energy jobs. I mean, you name it, we got it. But if you go on our site, there's a lot of great information there, and a lot of support for nonprofits, especially right now, what we're going through as a nation. We've been able to support many nonprofits in our community, in our state, with food insecurities and so forth. So we've been really at the front end of that as well, front lines of that.
Well, now you have to plug your nonprofit.
Sure, boys2leadersfoundation.org. Please follow us on all social media platforms, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook.
Beautiful. Well, Sara, thank you so much. I will see you very soon in March.
Yes, March.
March
Let's get ready
14th.
to Let's Talk.
Let's talk women's health and wellness at NJ PAC. I can't wait,
Yes.
but hopefully I'll see you before then.
I think so. Thank you, Lisa. This has
Thank
been
you.
wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me on another episode of Your New Jersey. I'm Lisa Marie Falbo. We'll see you back here next week.
Play it like the New York Sirens. Live in the spotlight. Etch your name in lights. Embrace the noise. And when it calls you, turn it up. Get louder. Play it like they'll hear us everywhere. Because this is our team. New York Sirens. Play it big.
At AmeriHealth, we understand what's important to you. It's why we offer some of the lowest cost health plans in New Jersey, with access to one of the state's largest networks of doctors and hospitals. Plus, with free 24/7 virtual care, you can see a doctor anytime and anywhere. And we're committed to giving back to help make a difference in our communities. Learn more at AmeriHealth.com. A health plan for everyone.